What
What's
up?
going on, dads?
What's up there in the dad universe?
We're back.
Badder than ever.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Dan, and this is the
Dan and Pat show.
Pat Show.
Pat and Dan show. Dan and
Whatever
Pat.
sounds
Whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Kind of like your attitude as a dad. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's how we used to feel until we started caring. And started sharing some of that caring with you wonderful folks out there in the universe.
You know, and when you have kids, you gotta care a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, well,
Things get weird.
yeah. Maybe you need to reevaluate things as a dad.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here today. So, in our line of work, believe it or not, most of what we deal with is handling situations by evaluating past situations that went wrong and learning from them and
Good point.
being all the better for it. So, it'll be
point.
that maybe like a plane crash or an accident or an incident, and really kind of just dissecting all the nuts and bolts of it to align what we call the Swiss cheese model and all these holes and everything
Because
that went wrong.
at the end of the day, we're trying to
figure out what
learn.
happened, right?
Yeah, we're trying to learn from previous mistakes so that we
Yeah.
don't repeat them. But that being said, today we want to really focus on a classic that maybe you after you watch this episode, you look at it and you go,
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that
So
way.
there's probably some dads out there that are maybe a little overwhelmed and they're starting to think to themselves, maybe this isn't for me.
And they're thinking maybe it's okay to be, kind of an absent father. The one that's like there in the evenings to kiss their kids goodnight, and that's about it.
Yeah. 9 to 5 dad, I guess, like when it's convenient for you. Or worse, just gone entirely. I'm out. See you later. Good luck. And to that father, we'd like to say, here's what might happen to your son
Yeah.
or daughter if you just decide to one day
So,
disappear.
a movie that we hold very near and dear to our hearts is
And a lot of you, I'm sure,
The
did see
Karate Kid,
Karate Kid. We're talking about KK1, the Karate Kid 1,
the original.
the OG KK Kid. So, there was a guy, in this film, Pat Morita, God rest his zombie bones. He's deceased now, but back in the day, he was quite the legend in the martial arts genre. He had everything. He was Japanese. He was in Hollywood. He could speak English. So, of course, he was casted back then
Yeah, a lot of
as a
people-
karate wizard. Kind of messed up. I actually don't think the guy knew karate in real life.
Yeah, apparently we did a little research, a little digging, and come to find out, Pat Morita didn't know karate.
Didn't know, man. He wasn't even a
He didn't
white
know.
belt. I took a 1/4 credit hour class in karate from a guy named Master Wang at Ohio State. And I probably know more about karate than Pat Morita did. And I don't know dick about karate. Anyways, not important. Point is, you might not realize this, but Pat Morita was what we'd consider to be
A fill-in dad.
a fill-in dad,
So let's talk about this for a second.
unappointed adopted father.
So, Danny's son, his father,
Yeah.
he's not there.
Yeah. Something happened. We don't know.
As we like to say, he wasn't Danny's son, he was
Daniel
Danny
gone. Yeah. Okay. So
He gone.
I mean, we can speculate what happened. We're talking New Jersey, so it was good. I mean, this is like Chris
All we
Christie
know
days.
is-
He's probably in the river somewhere.
But all we know
You
is
know,
he's gone. He's not
He's a
being dad.
fugazi father, as they say up there. Okay, he's gone. So, bottom line is, whatever happened to him, he was just like, you know what, world, you got this. Here's my Daniel San son, and good luck. Hopefully, he doesn't turn out that bad. But
So, next thing you know, he takes up with the karate master.
yeah, mom drags his ass from New Jersey out to California, and there he is one day, right?
And
Just-
there's his father figure,
guys just like chipping bonsai trees away. and
Mr. Miyagi.
fixing pipes and rooms and stuff, and well,
So, everyone growing up probably thought Mr. Miyagi was this cool guy. Like, what a great dude. Oh, he taught him karate.
oh, he's a
What great-
janitor. Oh, sick. I remember janitors, man.
We're here
nothing
to
against janitors, but
kind of break the mold a little bit and
Yeah.
tell you, is Mr. Miyagi really the guy that
is
you
that what
want
you want?
raising your kid?
Let's break it down, Pat.
All
Let's
right,
talk
let's
about
break
Mr.
it down.
Miyagi
All right, here
as
we
a
go.
father.
All right, so Mr. Miyagi, as an individual, everyone thinks he's a great guy. But let's kind of talk about a couple of the highlights of the movie where you sit there and go, I don't know that that's what I want my kid being around. Case in point, there's a scene that, doesn't get played too much on the YouTubes, but old Mr. Miyagi invites Daniel-san over to his house one night and gets pretty wasted.
Now, the story leads you to believe that Mr. Miyagi was some war hero, but, I mean, it's a little ambiguous. Like, whose side was he fighting on? Like, the guy was clearly born in, Okinawa or something, but he's also somehow fighting for the United States, which respect, I mean, I don't really care. Clearly, we weren't alive by it, but it's very confusing. So, was he a spy? Was he not? I mean, the whole thing is bizarre. But meanwhile, he's got his wife who's somehow killed in some conflict, and it just torments him. And he's got a lot of baggage, man.
We need a VH1 behind music.
I mean, he's got some issues, and clearly he's developed a drinking problem, okay? So how old would you honestly say Pat Moriarty is at the time?
Well, he's old. He's old enough to know better. Like,
no doubt, man. We're talking at least 49.
But let's be honest. How old do you think Daniel-san is supposed to be in that movie?
16, maybe. I mean, he just gets
definitely,
his license.
Definitely
That's
not
totally
able to
right.
drink.
He gives him a car, but we'll talk about that in a second.
So here he is, invites him over to his house, and his mom lets him go. Yeah. And Mr. Miyagi's over there getting blackout drunk, hanging out with Daniel-san. Now, let me tell you something. Dads out there, are you going to let your 16-year-old go hang out with some 49-year-old who's getting blackout drunk?
Weird.
If you are, you need to talk to us. Because
you come talk to us
we
first.
might need to put you in contact with somebody.
I mean, now granted, Mr. Miyagi, he's going through some stuff. He's repressing, some memories that are coming out of the cobwebs and yada yada. But, then he comes over and he starts offering Daniel-san drinks. And
he's trying to get...
Where does that lead? I mean, of course, it's, 1986, so we're not going to find out the whole truth. We're just, what they want us to see. But let's kind of, paint what was actually probably going on there. Like, hey, Daniel-san, you want some sake? Maybe a little sake after... Like, come on, man. Like, that shit was going on, dude. I mean, by all means, and... there's no scenario where Daniel-san gingerly tucks him into bed after Miyagi passes out. Like, no. There were some cutscenes there that things happened, okay?
Hey, Daniel-san, you want to wax on? And then you
whack off. Like, very good, Daniel-san. Now, of course, we can't do that. Dude, if somebody made a movie like that today, just with the accent alone, the racism against the Japanese culture alone
people would be so upset.
Just, awful.
Yeah. And again, that's not what we're concentrating on.
No.
We're concentrating on the fact that here's a guy that's hanging out with a 16-year-old.
And what business does he have?
Where's his dad?
Telling him to do all this work around the house. Man, he paints his fence, he cleans his deck, he stains his deck,
and then he gives Mr.
waxes
Miyagi
his cars, washes
gives
his cars.
him a car.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If I got a 16-year-old son, now granted, again, we're assuming that Mr. Mr. San, I guess, is a deadbeat dad because he's not around, obviously. But if my 16-year-old son showed up with a car that some other guy gave him, I'd have a lot of questions.
And there's that is just the behind the scenes stuff. The overt issues here is the guy's violent. I mean, he's whooping other 16 and 17-year-olds' asses. Like that one time they're chasing Daniel-san on dirt bikes. It kind of gets weird. There's a fence. He gets back to his apartment, and Mr. Miyagi fucking busts out of the sewers like a goddamn ninja turtle and just starts throat chopping kids, man. And he just whoops this dude's ass. Respect for saving Daniel-san's behind, but come on,
maybe,
man.
To be fair,
I'd be worried as a grown man whooping some. You got to just kind of call the cops at that point,
And to be fair, do we know?
Tough.
Did Daniel-san? Maybe he deserved it. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably did something to deserve it, and I think.
I mean, next thing you know, he's snaking some dude's girl.
Exactly. It's messed up.
Maybe he deserved to get
new
beat
guy
up.
walks into territory, acts like he owns it. I get it.
Yeah,
It's catty,
that's-
but still,
all
it's
we're
none
saying,
of
all we're
Mr.
saying
Miyagi's
is
business.
Mr. Miyagi, you know, somebody that everyone looked
Yeah.
up to probably in the 80s, like, oh, wow, this great guy. We're just kind of blowing the cover off that one, blowing the lid off, saying,
Let's talk about his physical health real quick.
maybe
So,
this is not the guy.
when he
you
finally
wanna
goes
hang
to
out
fight
with
Cobra
your kids.
Kai in the tournament, right? Like Daniel-san is like legitimately injured. Like his bones are broken in like
Yeah.
90 degrees of
Yeah.
separation.
How many of you
Finished.
dads out there? How many dads out there have kids playing like Little League or
Yeah.
Pop Warner football?
Kids are all worried today about
Yeah.
like, CTE getting hit.
Yeah.
You know,
And
concussions, all this stuff.
next thing you know, you're the coach who's supposed to be, you know, respecting and taking care of your little 10 or 12-year-old is telling you, oh, no, little Johnny's good to go out there and play with a broken arm.
And guess what? What if that same coach who looked at your little Johnny with your arm pointed this way from the
90 degrees
You know,
sideways.
we're talking
Yeah.
just destroyed bone, cut in half. And instead of being like, you know what, we should probably call an ambulance, call this one, that same coach went up to your son and just went like this. And then pseudo-sexually assaults him with his warmed up hands.
What even was that? I don't even get it.
Get out of here, man. So, yeah, Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi.
You lock it up, man, because that is messed up. You've got no right, let alone being around children, or sure enough being a father figure. But that's beside the point, because you know what I respect about you, Mr. Miyagi, is you actually did something. Because you know who didn't do something?
Mr. Son.
Mr. San.
So to all you dads out there, this is our challenge for you. Be a good dad.
Yeah,
And don't allow Mr. Miyagi to raise your kids.
no doubt. Well, we hope you like what you heard today. If you do, like us, make a comment, let us
right.
know what you thought, and we'll talk about it on our next show.
I'm Pat.
I'm Dan, and this is the Pat and Dan Show.
Hey.
Cheers. Keep on dadding.